There's a stretch of highway in South Orange County, California, where everyone suddenly starts driving differently. You feel it as soon as you cross an invisible line in the road. The cars slow down to the exact speed limit, not a mile over. And it's not a coincidence. Everyone who grew up there knows why. The highway patrol waits there, especially at the end of the month. Not because anything dangerous is happening, but because they're trying to hit their numbers. That same feeling when you pass through that area of being watched, targeted, hunted, is now the baseline in our country. On the freeway, it was predictable. But what ICE is doing now is something else entirely. This isn't about immigration enforcement. It's about hitting quotas at any cost. They've turned this country into a police state, not with trained, accountable law enforcement, but with hastily coached, unqualified thugs wearing hidden badges with no accountability and no regard for human life. They've become Trump's personal enforcers, the modern version of the Gestapo or the SS. They don't answer to the law. They only answer to the regime. Their job isn't to protect our country from outside threats. It's to intimidate, punish, and disappear. That's what they're being paid for. That's what the quotas are really about. Wreak as much damage as possible, kidnap as many people as they can, and test how far they can push it. Right now, they're targeting immigrants, black and brown folks, people with accents, people who don't look American, or American enough, whatever their version is. Citizens or not, it doesn't matter. Some they release, some they don't. But soon it will be about you and me. It'll be anyone who speaks out, anyone who questions this regime, anyone who doesn't conform to their new version of the world. That means people who aren't far-right Christian nationalists, who aren't their version of white, who are disabled, neurodivergent, gender non-conforming, or politically disloyal. We know how this story ends because we've seen it before in the 1930s and the 1940s. They always start with the others, and they never stop until every undesirable is gone. And we need to remember right this minute, nobody is safe. What ICE is doing isn't unique. It reflects the same model authoritarian regimes have used around the world. Incentivize cruelty, reward compliance, and let fear do the rest of the work. In Argentina between 1976 and 1983, the government was run by a military dictatorship that carried out a campaign of state terror, now known as the Dirty War. During that period, a military junta seized control of the country, dissolved democratic institutions, and unleashed security forces and secret death squads against anyone they labeled a threat. Tens of thousands of people were disappeared, kidnapped by masked men, held without charges, tortured, and never seen again. Many of those taken were ordinary citizens. They were students, activists, everyday workers, journalists, and even people with no political affiliation at all. People lived in uncertainty and fear because no one knew who would vanish next. And that's where we're heading. You don't hand out signing bonuses and set detention quotas if your goal is justice. You do it if your goal is fear. You do it to test how far you can go. This is a trial run to see what the public will tolerate. They want to know who will stay quiet and to see how much cruelty can be normalized before the next step is taken. This isn't a warning about what might happen someday. It's already happening today. And even if someone argues that ICE is following eternal policies, that misses the point. Just because something is ordered doesn't make it just. At the Nuremberg trials, the number one excuse given by those who carried out the atrocities was, "I was just following orders." And the court rejected that defense, saying the fact that a person acted pursuant to order of his government or of a superior does not relieve him from responsibility under international law, provided a moral choice was in fact possible to him. Of course, this isn't about international law applying to us right now. It's about what history has already shown us. That wasn't true then. They didn't have the ability to look back, but it's true now. No order justifies what ICE is doing to our fellow human beings. And even if we assume the most generous version of events, that every ICE action is technically within bounds of current policy, the rule of law still does not allow execution without due process. It does not allow summary punishment, and it does not allow masked men to act as judge, jury, and executioner in the streets. In the United States of America, more than 99% of offenses do not carry the death penalty, and none of them are decided on the spot by armed agents with no warrants and no hearings. And the real danger of the moment is that once society accepts that the government can kill without due process, the law is no longer real. It becomes optional. And when that happens, it won't stop with immigrants or protesters. It will eventually reach us all. That's what regime justice looks like. The law still exists on paper, but it no longer protects people equally. In Nazi Germany, the 1941 Night and Fog Decree authorized authorities to abduct anyone accused of threatening state security. No charges or trial necessary. People simply vanished overnight, pulled from their homes, never seen again. And the fear of what was happening kept everyone else in line. That's what happens when the law is no longer grounded in rights or fairness. And it's not just happening here. You can see it internationally as well. Donald Trump announced recently that the United States will, and I quote, do something about Greenland, whether they like it or not, openly threatening to seize territory belonging to Denmark, a NATO ally. He said he would prefer to make a deal the easy way, but that there was also a hard way. This is the language of a man who no longer believes rules apply to him. Not here, not abroad. And if a U.S. president feels entitled to threaten allies and claim foreign territory as his own, imagine what he's willing to do behind closed doors. And I want to stop for a moment and speak directly to our international friends who are watching this unfold. I try to imagine what it must look like from the outside. Most Americans were never under the illusion that this country was perfect, but there was pride in what it aspired to be. A nation built on immigrants, a flawed experiment grounded in freedom, opportunity, and the rule of law. That experiment is now nearly 250 years old, and it is being openly dismantled. Anyone who has taken a basic history course can see the pattern and knows where we're headed. And I can only imagine how heartbreaking and terrifying it must be to witness this from another country. I know this isn't just affecting Americans. It's disrupting the entire global order. It's putting the whole world at risk of another world war. And many are saying that this is the closest we've been to the brink of World War III in a generation or longer. And it's all because of one man. It's hard to look at this and fully grasp that the American people voted for it. He was elected the first time and did a catastrophic job. He botched the pandemic response. He undermined science. He gutted public health, environmental protections, and education. He separated families, encouraged hate, and built a cult around cruelty. And now we're doing it again. That's not something the rest of the world can fix. Only we can. I can only imagine how powerless it must feel to watch this unfold in a country with outsized influence over everything from trade to climate to global security. You're trying to live your life, take care of your own people, and yet you're forced to watch as one man destabilizes entire continents. I know it must be infuriating and exhausting watching one man have a grip, both emotional and physical, on the entire planet. And it probably feels like we aren't doing enough to stop it. I feel that too. I started publicly speaking out more because I felt that same frustration. I asked myself, what are we doing to stop this? And who can we look to for a path out of this? And unlike most countries facing authoritarian collapse, we don't even have an opposition leader. We don't have a figurehead people can rally around, and that makes the isolation worse. I see your comments. You need to rise up. And I agree, I do. And I also feel like this is all I do. Thanks to the support of this community, I've been able to dedicate nearly all of my time to this work. I don't clock out. I'm reading news, watching press briefings, writing posts, filming videos, and helping people understand what's happening. I spend at least 16 hours a day, every single day. And also I'm still a mom. I still have a child at home. This has taken a decade of her childhood, and I carry that with me too. And I still feel like I need to do more. I still feel like I want to do more. I still feel like more must be done. But I want you to know this. There are more of us than you think who don't support this and who are doing everything we can to resist. And there are more people joining the resistance every single day. I know it might not look like it from the outside, but it is happening. We see the danger. We feel the shame. We know what's been lost, and we know what's still at stake. We're not giving up on our country or on you. Americans were built on resolve. We've survived every dark chapter we've faced before, and we will again. So for those of you outside the US, and those of you inside, don't think for 1 second that this will last. It won't. We will rise up like we always do, and that is why I still have hope for America. And I hope you do too. And I want to thank you for watching this. If you've made it this far, we're probably on the same page and on the same page of history. As you know, I'm working as hard as I possibly can to spread this message and reach as many people as possible. So if you can, please take a moment and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and if you can leave a comment, that helps the algorithm know to share it with more people. For all of my daily posts, you can find me on Substack by searching Heather Delaney Reese, and I've included a link below. And remember, no matter how dark the days get, I'll be here every single day, and we will always have hope for America. I'll see you tomorrow.